This, I feel like, is a very big problem.
Alright guys, welcome back to another video with the guy and his projects. So we made it to South Dakota. I covered that in a video a couple weeks back, I know that. But before we left, there were some events that took place. If you missed that video, 6.0 did good, the minivan did good, everything was good. It was a fine trip up there. A little tiny problem with the 6.0, but it ended up being an aftermarket problem, not the actual 6.0's fault. So, that out of the way. So, we got up to South Dakota, but the day before we left, and I touched on my thumb, I ripped up my thumb pretty good, I had to get it glued all back together. That's actually healed really good now. The thumbnail is actually, so the doctor told me the thumbnail would fuse itself back together just like the skin. I honestly didn't believe her, but it seems to have, so it's actually really kind of cool how your body works. But anyway, so where was, oh yeah, so the day before we left, I slit open my thumb waiting for the transport company to come on the Jeep. And in addition to that, I went and I looked at a new vehicle. I want something with four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive to commute back and forth to my new job in South Dakota because of the snow and crap and all that. I feel like having four-wheel drive underneath your underneath the body is probably a good idea. So I thought about waiting until we got to South Dakota to look for another vehicle. That thought went through my head a few times, and I started looking on OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace, and there's really nothing. There's not much inventory up there, and I think a lot of that's because there's just not the same quantity of people as in the greater Phoenix area. I mean, shoot, what's Phoenix? You got like 4-point-some million people, or 8 million people? I think you got like 8 million people in Arizona. And South Dakota, you have under 1 million. So inventory is much smaller up there. And so I talked to my wife about it, and we decided to go ahead and purchase a vehicle in Arizona before we get to South Dakota. Because, well, one, rust is not an issue in Arizona, so I can go up there in a clean vehicle. Not that there's not clean vehicles up there, but I don't know. Anyway, so that was one reasoning. Reason two is just inventory. There's so much more options, so many more options in the Phoenix area. So I went and I looked at a few things. I didn't really have something that I wanted to get. I was looking for small trucks like Tacomas, Colorados, maybe a Ranger, a Nissan Frontier. I was looking in the small truck category, but with gas prices on the rise, thanks Biden, people are freaking pushing prices out the gazoo for the smaller trucks. And what I found was the bigger trucks actually had smaller price tags on them because they eat gas, and everybody's scared of gas right now because, well, Biden's pushed gas prices. Well, we all know it's stupid. But anyway, so I found a couple of bigger trucks. I looked at a couple Ram 1500s. I looked at a couple older Tundras, but people are stupid with their Toyotas. Like they want you to pay 20 grand for a 50-year-old vehicle. I don't get people with Toyota. It makes no sense. But anyway, so I looked at a couple of them, passed up on them. Looked at a couple of F-150s. I looked at a couple of Jeeps, Jeep Cherokees. And just nothing was really hitting me or hitting my fancy. And then I looked at this vehicle and I was like, you know what? I like it.
So what we have is a 2004 Nissan Titan. So of course it's got the 5.6 liter V8 engine. So interesting story with these rims. These are off of a 2020 Pro 4X. So the guy that sold this to me had already changed trucks. He had already bought the 2020 Pro 4X, and he actually liked the rims that were on this truck, which were aftermarket, and asked me if I would be okay if we switched rims and tires. And he had BFG KO2s on his 2020. I told him, yeah, on this one, and some aftermarkets. I told him, yeah, switch them away. So he went to discount and switched the rims and tires out. So these are actually off of a 2020. I actually kind of like it though. Oh, because it's got the Nissan emblem in there, which his aftermarkets didn't, of course. But yeah, so this is it. 2004 Nissan Titan It's got this really nice green. I asked the guy if he knew what it was called. He told me canteen green. I'm just taking it for granted that that's exactly what it is. It doesn't really matter to me, I just like the color. And it actually looks really good for a 2004. So Nissans in the early 2000s, everything they painted wears out. Their paint sucked. They did really crappy paint jobs. But this one actually looks pretty good. I mean, there's some chipping and some fading in some key areas, like right here. The green bumper, I guess they were rear-ended at one point and they got a painted bumper. Same with the front. They rear-ended somebody else and painted the bumper or something. I don't know. I don't remember the story, but anywho, I like the color. The black plastic, like everything that's almost 20 years old, is pretty faded, but there it is, man. It looks pretty nice. Drives nice. I like it. I was actually looking for a Nissan Frontier, but with the price of gas, thank you, Biden, the Frontiers are, oh, hey, you can see me like this. The Frontiers are actually pretty expensive, and these Titans get about the same fuel mileage as a Frontier. So in my mind, I was like, well, why not get a more powerful truck for less price with the same gas mileage? So inside, I like these Titans because they're so roomy. Like here, I threw my little boy. He's coming up on 5 in a shoot next week, or actually last week by the time this video posts. His car seat fits in here with plenty of room. The seat's pretty much all the way back. My little girl's still rear facing, so she fits. Never mind all my workwear. Like these cabins are huge. The inside of the cab in the back is pretty much pristine. I mean, you've got some scratches on the plastic. That's typical with, you know, plastic in the back. You know, you got people kicking it and items rubbing on it. In the front, so we got some of this rubber right here. It's all cracked, whatever. It's almost 20 years old. It's dirty and nasty, but that can all be cleaned up. He's got WeatherTech floor mats all the way around, which is good because I've been walking around in a lot of snow since I've been up here. But overall, it's really good. It's got 140,000 miles. The leather's all in really good condition. Some minor scratches here and there, but that's actually the worst of it right there, which is typical. That's where you slide in and out. It's got the typical Nissan broken plastic on the inside. Nissan did not do any favors for anybody when they put the plastics in here. They went cheap. But yeah, 140,000 miles. And I feel like I got a pretty good deal for what I paid. I don't like to say what I paid on these videos. I paid way more than I wanted to. I wasn't expecting to pay this much, honestly, what I paid, but I still feel like a good deal for the market. Good deal 2 years ago. I wouldn't call this a good deal 2 years ago, but a good deal in 2022 in Biden's America. This is a pretty good deal. So yeah, that's the way it is. Yes, I know it's not 100% Biden's fault, but it is a lot of part Biden's fault. So anywho, I've got some vlog going on, and I guess I'll just let that roll now, and we'll see where we go. Still in a hotel. It's getting kind of old, kind of sucks, but that's all right. So it is what it is. We should hopefully have a house soon, and we'll get some actual repair videos going for you guys.
I actually looked at a couple of these before I found this one too. And I found this one and I bought it, and my awesome older brother let me store it at his place in Arizona, and that was the day before we moved. So the day we moved was Saturday, so we bought this on Friday. So Saturday we load up the truck, the van, the trailer with our crap, and I wanted to put this on the trailer and take it with us, but it just wasn't feasible with all the crap we were also taking. So we booked it to South Dakota. We've been up there for almost 2 weeks now. We spent the first week just looking for homes and wasting time, just chilling out, I guess. And then last week I actually started my new job. So I worked 1 week at my new job, and then yesterday was Friday. So Friday I booked a flight from South Dakota back to Phoenix. Got my family up at 5 in the morning so they could go drop me off at the airport. There's a little time change, but essentially we got to Phoenix at about 1 p.m. My brother's like an hour from the airport, so I was at his house by 2. I jumped in the truck and booked it, made it all the way to Gallup, New Mexico last night. I called my wife a couple hours before I got to Gallup and asked her to book a room for me so I didn't have to pull over to the side of the road, look for hotels and crap. So she was awesome. She went ahead and booked the room, and I just kind of cruised on in, hit Gallup, took a shower, passed out, got up this morning at 4 a.m. and hit the road again. So I'm going to try and make it all the way to South Dakota today with the Titan, and hopefully I can. I'm guessing it's going to be about 9 p.m. tonight. And it's about 20 hours of drive time total, more or less, depending on the route you take. There's the shortest route is going through Nebraska, but when you look at the map, there ain't nothing in Nebraska, no towns, no nothing. And I know nothing about this truck. I took it for an 8-minute test drive before I bought it, and that's it. My brother drove it to his place. He went with me when we exchanged cash in the vehicle, and he took it back to his place for me. And yeah, so like literally, I had driven this truck for 8 minutes on a test drive before jumping in to go to South Dakota. So I know nothing about this truck. I don't want to go through Nebraska and go 15 months with no towns, gas stations, mechanics, shops, anything else, because I have no tools either. I don't even have a pocket knife because I flew in from South Dakota. I mean, you can't take anything on the plane, so I have absolutely nothing with me. And I don't know, going through Nebraska would suck. So going through Wyoming, something smells burnt, and hopefully it's not this. Anyway, going through Wyoming is bad enough as it is. Going through Nebraska, looking at the map anyway, looks even worse. So I'm going through Colorado, we'll hit Denver, and then we'll kind of veer off and go up. It's a little bit longer of a drive, but there's a lot more towns along the way, supposedly. So that's the goal, that's the plan. So far, this truck is doing just fine. It's got some random knocks and bangs and wacko things that I cannot figure out. If I'm on the accelerator for a while and we're going uphill, maybe under load, and I let off the pedal, there's a random thunk in the back. It'll just go thunk. My original thought was maybe the transmission mount. I can't really tell, and I haven't crawled under there to find out. Maybe it's a carrier bearing on the drive shaft, or maybe the diff is going out. I don't know. But then there's another random thing. I cannot duplicate it, and it's super random. Every time it happens, it's under some kind of a different road condition. And what it is I'll just be driving, and then it's almost like a damper tries to open, and it stops. Boom. It's like 3 clunks. Like, so yeah, that's actually not a good representation of what I just did. It's more like thump, thump, thump. Yeah, there you go. Thump, thump, thump. And it's really loud, and it sounds like it's coming from the engine bay. No idea what it is. It's the same sound every time. Thunk, thunk, thunk. And it goes away, and it's a different condition every time it's happened. I'll just be driving, sometimes on cruise control on the flat ground, then all of a sudden, thunk, thunk, thunk. I don't know, it's freaking confusing the heck out of me, and it scares me every time because it's super loud, and I know nothing about this truck, and I got nothing with me, and I'm driving 1,200 miles, so there's that. The other random sound is in the back. Sometimes so you know when your tire kicks up a pebble and you slam it into your wheel well fender when it lets loose, it's kind of like a hard rock on a plastic sound, like thunk. That happens randomly, but it's not pebbles because it's the exact same sound every time. There's no variation, the exact same sound every time. You know when you throw pebbles, sometimes it's loud, sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's sharp, sometimes it's thuddy. This is the same exact thunk every time, and it's just super random. I don't understand. I can't duplicate it. I don't know. First I thought, well, maybe it's the compressor clutch because it's coming from that side of the engine bay, sort of, I think. But it happens without the compressor on too, so I don't know. Super confusing, kind of sketchy. You guys are bouncing a lot, sorry. Or am I bouncing? Anyway, we're going to cruise along. We're in New Mexico right now. Been in New Mexico for a while. GPS has me going along the Rio Grande for some reason. I don't know why, but that's what we're doing. So I'll catch back to you guys in a little bit, give you a little status update. But for now, I'm just going to keep on keeping on. So let's go. I figured I'd check in with you guys before I actually get back to the hotel in South Dakota. So, summary, in case I forgot to earlier, I don't remember, that was a long time ago. Left the hotel at 5:30 a.m. yesterday morning, which was Friday. got to my brother's in Casa Grande after a flight, a layover in Denver, and then another flight to Phoenix, an hour Uber, which is 80 bucks.
Oh, speaking of Uber, so I haven't done a lot of Uber. I've done some Uber, and this Uber, because my brother lives in Casa Grande and I dropped out in the Phoenix airport, I put in my destination in the Uber app, had somebody pick me up. As soon as I got in the car, he looked at the destination. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not doing that. You need to get out and find another ride." So a super awesome experience right there. And then he asked me to cancel the trip, and I assumed by him asking me to cancel it that it looked better for him. So I refused to cancel it. He waited about 15 minutes after leaving me to cancel it himself, so I know he didn't want to. I'm just stubborn like that. Uber still charged me 13 bucks for canceling the ride. The next guy picked me up and took me no problem. I got a hold of Uber and explained that it wasn't me that canceled the ride, and that, you know, it's not my fault the guy accepted a drive he couldn't fulfill. And they actually refunded the $80 trip. I still paid the $13 fee, but they refunded the $80 trip. So I'm hoping the right driver got penalized. I don't know. Anywho, sidetracked. So it took an hour Uber ride to my brother's, got to there. Then I went straight from my brother's in the truck. It was about 2:30 in the afternoon. Went to Walmart, AutoZone, bought some fluids, filled up the tank, and filled up the fluids that were needing it, and hit the road.
To my brother's in Casa Grande. Jumped in the truck, didn't even take a piss break. The Uber dropped me off. I went straight to the truck, jumped in, and I hit Walmart, got some fluids for just in case. There was a couple that were low, like the power steering was pretty much empty, and the washer fluid was empty. And then I bought some oils and stuff as well. So I hit Walmart, turned around, bang, made it all the way to Gallup about 9:30 p.m. last night. I set my alarm clock for 5 a.m. this morning. And then I ended up getting up at 4 because I wake up at like 3 every morning, which is stupid because I never need to be up at 3, but for some reason my body wakes me up about 3 o'clock every morning. So laid there for an hour, got up at 4, was on the road by 4:30 after getting gas, and I've been on the road ever since. It is 5:20 right now, and I've got about just under 200 more miles to go. So that's another, 3 hours. So I'll probably stop one more time, take a leak, fill up the tank, and I'll finish the trip, I guess. I should be back to the hotel, which is our home at the moment, about probably 8:30, give or take, tonight. So you can make this trip in 2 days, no problem. Flying there and driving back, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. If you're only going one direction and driving, it's just two 10-hour days after a couple pee breaks, so 2 12-hour days. Big deal. Not a big deal. But yeah, so should be there soon. The truck is doing perfect. It still makes those weird sounds every once in a while. I have not figured it out. I have not. So the rear end ones I can sometimes mimic. It's something to do with there being a load and then letting the load off. So having your foot on the accelerator and letting it off real fast. But it doesn't happen every time, it's only sometimes. But when it happens, that seems to be when it happens. In the 1,000 miles I've been driving this thing, that's the pattern I've picked up. The front end, the thunk thunk thunk, I have zero clue, no idea. It still happens once in a while. Not very often. Seems to happen more when I'm in stop and go, like there's some traffic through Denver, and it happened quite a bit in Denver. But again, there's no pattern when it happens. It just happens to be in the time and go traffic. Sometimes it does it when I'm consistently driving. Sometimes it does it when I'm accelerating. I don't know. But anyway, that's that. So I'm in no man's land, Wyoming right now. I don't even know what this freeway is called. It's just a little 2-lane freeway, one lane each way. And it just goes for miles and miles and miles. Service keeps going in and out, in and out, in and out. And so this would be a really bad time for something to happen to the truck. But I'm only 190 miles from the hotel, so a little bit too far to walk, I guess, still. But without cell service, it'll go out for like 5 miles at a time. So I guess it's a long walk, and there's not any traffic. Like, I haven't caught up to a single car in 10 miles yet, and nobody's caught up we made this drive, my wife and I with the kids and the two vehicles 2 weeks ago, was the same way. There's nobody on this road, so hitchhiking's kind of out of the question. So it's a long walk if you break down with no service. But so far the truck's doing great. I have no problems. Just for the fun of it, this thing's got 141,000 miles, and just for the fun of it, this morning when I left Gallup, New Mexico, I bought like 5 cans of seafoam, and I've been dumping a half a can in every time I fill up. I've been filling up about every 150 to 200 miles. It seems to be a good stopping point. It's about when my bladder's full, and this tank is getting to be about half empty. So about half a can. Just trying to clean the system. I figure it's a good time because we're just sitting here cruising. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not. Maybe it doesn't even need to be cleaned. I don't know. But I'm doing it. So, anywho, that's that. Hopefully I'll be to the hotel tonight, and we'll call this a 2-day journey. Alright, so one thing that's a fair amount of interesting is this engine bay. He got some old plastic. It's holding together, but it's definitely old. We'll probably put an AGM battery in here. This is an Interstate. Nothing wrong with them. I just like the AGMs because I don't have to deal with the liquid. The power steering fluid leaks like crazy. There's a lot of power steering fluid leakage I'm going to have to address. Let that guy go by. Other than that though, everything's good except this here. This I feel like is a very big problem. This was supposedly installed by the dealer that sold the first guy the truck. I have the paperwork. The guy passed that on to me. It was installed a long time ago. 140,000 miles on this. This was installed at about 4,000 miles from my understanding. And I don't know if you noticed there anything missing, but I do not see a filter. I do not see a filter in the system. This is a cold air intake, and yes, it is a real cold air intake because it's going to the engine wheel well, or the wheel well, which I really like, but we're missing a filter from what I can tell. Unless the filter is built into this pipe, which I doubt because I feel like that would be very restrictive, we're missing a filter. So I already ordered a new filter kit. We'll do a video on that in the hotel parking lot here probably pretty soon, and we're going to put something with a filter. 140,000 miles. If there is no filter in there, the engine has probably had a lot of dirt go through it, especially being in Arizona its whole life. I'm really hoping not. I'm taking a gamble on that, and we'll see what happens. So if you've ever heard of this, I've googled it. There's not much online. If you've ever heard of this brand Pro Cold, let me know what you think, and maybe there is a filter in there. I just don't see it. So anywho, so anyway, staying here at the hotel Staybridge. It's a nice hotel, pretty decent. Oh yeah, came with a tonneau cover, which I don't really care about, but with the snow it's actually nice because you don't have to scoop out your bed after the snow to use your bed. So that's actually kind of going to turn out pretty nice. So anyway, stay tuned, more videos coming. We'll have a house and a garage soon. I really hope, because staying in a hotel really sucks, especially with kids. And but we're making do. So thanks guys, we'll see you next time.